Hey everyone! So last week we talked about preparing for marriage if you're single, and we talked about your 3 goals, right? Which were 50,000, pastorate, and steady income, job, house.
House, yeah.
Okay. All right, and so I think, and the focus last week was on service, right? Like more than those 3 things, position yourself where you're serving.
Yeah.
But then I think the question of, well, then are we saving? Like, do I need to save any money before I get married? How much should I save? So we kind of talked a little bit about how even the money that we had saved, God took away so that we could learn some things. But what would you say to having a financial goal before marriage?
Well, anecdotally, I think I would say that the answer is pretty similar, right? Like service, because whatever job I was working, I didn't like to spend my money because I knew I wanted to save it for the future in service of either being able to be financially independent to better serve the church or eventually finding a spouse or something like that. So, you know, whether it was working as a car porter or a baker or a pharmacy tech, I would always try to save a lot more than I spent. And I think that was, even in what I would save, I would want to serve others, right? So all the friends from church want to go out to eat.
Yeah.
I didn't want to spend money, but that would take away a lot of like service opportunity to people in the church my age. So I would go and I'd just order a Coke. So at least I would pay something to the restaurant for sitting there. And then I'd always, my minimum tip for at a restaurant was always $5.
Yeah.
So even though my
you were a big tipper. I remember when we first got married, I was like, whoa, you could like do 20% or something.
Yeah, so like I would pay $2 for a soda at a restaurant and then I'd tip $5, so.
Okay. Yeah, so even with the goal of saving, there needs to be an aspect of serving. Yeah. And I also think saving is helpful because it's teaching you self-discipline.
Right.
So I think with the singles that I know or can think of from the past, some of them were really great at serving, right? So they could go out, they could serve with, you know, their time, they volunteered, they got paid a lot because they were really great at service.
Yeah.
But they threw it all away because they didn't have any self-discipline.
Right.
Right? So I do think saving is helpful because it's teaching you self-discipline, it's helping you gain skills that you're going to need in marriage. Right? I don't think it's so much the amount that you're saving as it is the practice of saving.
Well, know that because then it's self-discipline when the context changed. And that's probably where I did fail, right? Because then you come out and I'm like, let's do the most fun things that I can offer you here in like my hometown. And I blew through my whole savings in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, we were
But then again, I was not making a lot of money. We talked about that in the last video. Like I was way below my goals.
Right.
And so my savings was only like 1,000 at that time anyways. So.
Yeah. Well, we also had to get a phone plan. We were at that point, it was our wedding fund, you know, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, right. It wasn't just random fun things, but it did go.
Yeah, it did go fast, but I think, and that's where if you see that have the service aspect of saving, then when you get married, it's not like this is my money, you know,
right?
Or I was saving this money for a car, and now we just have to spend it on.
Or like I can't sell my Pokemon cards for our food. I need to.
Okay, explain that story. Go ahead.
Oh, we were just jobless right after we got married because my workplace was asking me to do illegal stuff, and Helen had just moved here, so I haven't found a job yet. Because we're both just us, right? We're just married. And I was like, well, I guess I can sell my Pokemon cards.
Yeah, and they weren't going for $1 million back then.
No. My Charizards were not $250,000 cards at the time.
But they were still like a week's worth of groceries per card or something like that.
Yeah, they floated us for like 2.5, 3 months.
Yeah. So I think, saving with the aspect of service and then saving with for the exercise of self-discipline, because that's going to be your time, right? Having discipline over your time and your money, I think is important. from a man's perspective, how do you see those playing into marriage? Like self-discipline with your time and your finances.
Basically, if you have self-discipline as an individual, there's better opportunity that you can expand it to include others.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
I mean, if there's no self-discipline, there's nothing to include anyone to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's just a clash of like, it's like individualistic materialism, to use some like term, right? Because when it's just there is no discipline there, or a future mindset, or like having a purpose to your, albeit small income, right? There's nothing to invite another to, or partake of, or share in, or.
It's just, do you like to spend money the way I like to spend money? Do you like to spend time the way
Hopefully you like to spend money the way I like to spend.
But that's the point, right? Is that when marriage requires that you spend money on things that you don't want to, how are you going to handle that?
Or the other end, which was, why do you like to spend money? That was the other end. Because I didn't like to spend money so much back then. Like,
I know, no, you didn't. I know. You were definitely the more frugal. I was trying to think of a nice way to say it. Yes, but because I know as a wife, I mean, I felt like I was pretty self-disciplined as a single, right? Having lived overseas and everything, and having to be really conscientious of my time. But then getting married and then having kids, you realize how much your time is not your own. Because you're just settling in for your mom time, you're gonna relax, and then you've got a kid showing up like, I think I'm gonna puke, boom, there goes your time. You thought, oh, I've got this money saved up, and I'm gonna go on this nice little shopping trip, and
legal fee.
Yep,
anything like that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Something comes through, and there it goes. And so if you don't have self-discipline, and then like you said, inviting others into it, it also impacts, I think, whether or not you can discipline others. If you have no self-discipline, it's gonna be really hard to teach other people to have self-discipline, the little people in your home. And it's also going to be hard to discipline them well, because you're going to be flying off the handle, if you don't have any self-discipline. Both of us struggle with that. So, so I think saving is good. I don't think there's a fixed amount. I think you need to look at, what's reasonable in your area and with your expectations and what you plan on doing, what kind of wedding you want to have and all that.
And having a good orientation for your saving, because then it can either be like, once you arrive, then saving doesn't matter, or it be like, there is no ever like rejoicing point, because you just save so much so often that you never know how to be abundant, right? Like,
and so maybe more than spending, right, is the focus on more than saving is the focus on spending. So. Do you have a budget, right? Maybe you're great at tucking away money, which I think you were, but you weren't great at having a budget, right? For like how much and how you should spend. Because then when you had an excess, right? Like, oh, I've put away the money I want for my savings, and then you had an excess. It was hard to know how to prioritize that, right? And that's usually where we came into conflict, because it'd be like, well, we have this excess. I want to do this with it.
Right.
I want to do this with it.
Yeah, we typically didn't. But I didn't, as an individual, I didn't typically have excess. It was like,
no. But once we did it as a couple, because that does happen too, right? You have both the totaled expenses, but then you got the totaled income, whether it's a gift or something that comes through. So, but what would you say, before we finish this one off, as far as the most important thing to keep in mind with spending? What should you be doing with your money right off the top that we had to learn, 3 years?
Always pay yourself first.
Nope. Okay.
Tithe?
Yeah. Which we learned, how long we had the kids, so.
Yeah, we were in Aradam and Sarah, that's all I can think of. I don't remember the year.
I know.
But before COVID.
Yep.
Like a year before COVID, maybe a year and a half before COVID.
Yeah, it's been about 6 years
now.
Yeah. And basically the idea being that you pay God first.
Yep.
And so no matter how much you're saving or how great you got your spending under,
or what the government taxes you, that you treat him to the first fruits. You have to take the government's tax first and say, well, Alright, I guess
Yeah.
they really are God, they get the most.
So we'll put a resource in the description, but there's a really great book on how to do the tithes, and there's actually 3.
Yep.
The first one being your
Social tithe or Levitical tithe, and then there's the
10%.
rejoicing tithe or celebration tithe, and then there's the poor tithe.
And for us, I think implementing those was probably the most impactful thing. So if you can do that as a single, I think that's going to have a huge impact
Yeah.
on your marriage and how you do finances. And
If anything, that's going to get you the most principled, because others is already built into the system with celebration and the poor tithe.
So cool. Well, thanks for joining us, and we hope this was encouraging. Thanks for watching last week's, and next time, hopefully we can do this again. Yeah.